Hi there. Thanks for joining CPG Bytes, a series of short video segments from Treasure Data, where we chat about the latest news and industry trends and read between the lines to provide our perspectives and insights. So David, my friend, what do you have for us this week?
Good afternoon, Stephen. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, David. I'm doing great. What are you?
Doing very, very well. Thanks for asking. So I have a couple stories to walk through today, both pretty recent, and they both are related to CPG companies looking for better access to essentially first-party data, right, to drive consumer engagement and loyalty. And the first story I want to talk a little bit about is some work that EJ Gallo is doing in terms of building out and expanding a program they have, a loyalty program through a mobile app. And, I think one of the struggles that Gallo or really any of your adult beverage companies, right? It's a very regulated industry. It becomes difficult to do maybe some of the typical, either marketing or advertising, or even some of the direct to consumer activities that maybe if you had more of a traditional fast moving consumer goods you could do, right? Because you have different rules around shipping directly to consumers, state laws, all sorts of things. And so what Gallo's done here is they're using a loyalty app to be able to let consumers earn rewards, right? So it's driving that engagement. We talked a lot about that reciprocal value, right? And so the consumer's getting points for purchasing different Gallo products. And in response to that, Gallo's getting information about those consumers and ability to drive better engagement. And it's accumulating points that I think very interesting ways, right? It's not just buying, products and filling something out. They're sending in photos of their store or restaurant receipts. I mean, it's a very sort of modern take on what you could say has kind of been a pretty bread and butter program. Like loyalty programs have been around forever, right? But I think it's a very modern take on that, which is fantastic. And consumers like these kinds of programs. So I think that this is a great example of a company in a regulated industry really thinking outside the box and how to take something very traditional and expand it and make it much more digital to allow them to drive that engagement and capture that first party data. Yeah. The second story is also with a beverage company, but it's Coca-Cola, so not the alcoholic and spirits land, but it's your carbonated soft drinks. In this example, this is some work that the Coke is actually doing over in China, in Shanghai, and they've built out what they're calling a smart lounge. Now, what's fascinating about this is it's a lounge where consumers can come in and purchase Coke products, but we've talked a lot about different data sources and utilizing them. One of the things that the Coke has really done here is kind of push the envelope and innovated around types of data. So of course they're capturing the purchase history and those kind of things, but they're actually using cameras, and they're not doing any kind of facial recognition. So they're not looking to try to identify the people, but what they're looking at is that computer vision to map their routes and see how much time they're spending in the lounge and where they're going and how much time they spend around different displays. And they're collecting all of that information and building out these dashboards. There's kind of a little snapshot here of a dashboard that takes a look at how many people are in the lounge, what they're buying, how much time they've spent in different areas. There's kind of this heat map that shows that kind of information. And again, it's all this first party data that they're collecting. But the other piece of this that I thought was really, really fascinating is they're using this information not just for consumer engagement, but they're actually using it down here when they talk about using this to drive operational efficiency. And Stephen, you and I have talked about this in the past, that as CPG companies think about that first party kind of data strategy through direct to consumer, they need to think of DTC as not just a sales channel, but it's more than that. It's an engagement channel. It's a way for them to better understand different trends in demand, different opportunities to drive new flavors or new products, right, from an innovation standpoint. And what Coke is doing with this data is they're using it to help them from a merchandising strategy perspective and operational efficiency and identify growth opportunities. So they're taking this data, which is a small subset, right? I mean, you could argue that it's just a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of 1% of Coke's overall consumers, right? I mean, how many people a day drink Coke? It has to probably be in the billions, right?
Yeah.
But they're using this data to then figure out, sort of answer bigger, broader questions around supply chain and innovation, which I think is really, really fascinating. So, I think what we've seen based on these two stories is, one, how to take a traditional program like loyalty and rewards program and sort of elevate it into the 21st century is what Gallo's doing. And then I think in this example, we have Coke taking a look at net new data sources like this, the cameras and the vision, the computer vision, as well as leveraging that data to drive things above and beyond just consumer engagement and get into broader use cases around innovation and supply chain.
No, and from this, David, you can see that there's a big push of CPG companies investing and kind of honing the secret weapon to acquire more of the first party data, right? And so from what I can see is that the secret weapon has been traditionally overlooked in the past. And CPG companies from yesteryears did not deal directly with consumers like they are doing today. So and now more than ever, they are being pushed to the front lines of the digital revolution to cater and service the consumers just like all the retailers are. And so there you go. The first party data is like the new gold mine for CPG companies and to have, and more importantly, kind of making the best business decisions based off of the data that they have collected, right? On engagement strategies, on operational efficiencies, growth opportunities. These are stuff that it doesn't just come from thin air. You make the best decision based off of the data that you have collected. And therefore, for first party data is kind of a secret weapon that each of these companies, big companies, as you can see, are really honing and kind of acquiring that skill to really be masters at them.
Absolutely. So that's what I got for you today. Thanks again.
Well, thank you, David, for that insight on first-party data and kind of the secret weapon that CPG companies should be looking out for. And thank you for joining us. As mentioned before in a previous CPG Bytes episode, we have made available to our loyal CPG viewers the DTC readiness guide that David was talking about in terms of how do you capitalize on the direct-to-consumer strategies to acquire that first-party data. And that guide is now for you to download for free. Please go to the descriptions below and find the link to the DTC readiness guide, and you can download the entire worksheet to work on with your team and see how you compare to your peers in the same industry. Make sure that you visit the landing page and download the free tool after you watch this video. And for more videos like this, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to turn on the bell for all notifications. We'll be back in 2 weeks with more topics for CPG Bytes. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. Bye-bye.